Hey, what's up, everybody? Happy Tuesday, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Ask Me Anything About My Travel series. It's good to be here. It's good to be talking to all you good folks out there. And for today's topic, I really wanted to talk about something that I saw and I think is really associated with the colder weather as things turn to fall and winter and we get cooped up into our apartments, houses, whatever, for the long winter. And that is a little bit of the depression, loneliness, the blues, sort of a blue time in your life. And this is something that I really noticed when coming back, and I was very surprised about was there was a lot of people that I know, a lot of friends that I know that were battling some sort of dark period, bout of depression, a little bit lonely, and it really surprised me. Now, I know that I really had a lot of people around me all the time, and I had some extreme circumstances, and maybe that was part of it, but I just didn't quite see the so much loneliness, so much depression as when I came back. And for young people too that are out and doing things and still combating a little bit of depression, a little bit of loneliness. So I've been trying to think about that for a little bit. What makes that happen here? Is there a correlation between our lifestyle here back in the US compared to other places? And I think there are two things that I noticed that might help anyone that is battling a little bit of depression or the winter blues that are coming on now that we're a little bit more clamped indoors with the weather and everything else that is going on. So, the first thing that I noticed is really here in the US, we don't prioritize communities or social time. I think that if you do have a close friend group, then you are very lucky. But even then, sometimes it can be hard to get together. And the group doesn't really prioritize friend group over, say, working. I think working is a much higher priority. Productivity, making money is a much higher priority than social time here in the US. And it might be driving some of the depression and, of course, loneliness, which would make sense, that is going on in this country. And it's it's super interesting to me because, and I hear a lot of people do that. They say this, especially long-term travelers, that they'll go to some maybe developing countries that don't have a lot of income, stay with families that don't have a lot of income, and they seem happier. They seem much happier day to day than the lives of most Americans that have a ton more resources than those families do. But a lot of those families do stay with their families since they don't have the wealth to each have their own homes. They stay together and they have people around them all the time. Not only do they have people around them, but they have very close family members and they cook dinners together all the time, every night because they have to. And the majority of their day is spent in social interaction. And to be honest, they do seem happier than the Western societies where maybe couples or small families are isolated in their own homes compared to big family homes. I'm not saying that they are happier. We do have a ton of resources here in the US that make our lives so much easier, but this may be a component of our lives that we're missing here in our culture, in the Western culture, that might need to rise up our priority list a little bit more so that we can focus more on our communities and get more of that social interaction. And I know that for me, I really felt it coming back. Now, I, once again, was living in a very extreme example where I was staying in other people's homes for a lot of it. I was meeting family, I was meeting new friends, and that was basically what my life was meeting new people and enjoying their company. But coming back, it does feel very, very isolating here. I was surprised that even me and my friends that are back together or communicating, but we don't really hang out as much as I thought that we would. And maybe that's just my expectations because I was hanging out with people all the time and people now have life responsibilities. But I don't see a whole lot of the generating of opportunities here. And what I mean by that is there's not a lot of people asking to hang out. There's not a lot of people creating parties, asking to come over and cook dinner, um, doing game nights, any of those things that I really saw in Europe, especially, or other Western societies that maybe have a little bit closer community than we do. And it's just not happening here. There's not a whole lot of generation of proposed events and getting things together and getting people together here. And once again, I think it's part of that shift in priorities where social time and hanging out with other people or being in the presence of other people has climbed down the priority ladder. And that's something that we might want to target because it's something very applicable that we can do. Call up your best friend and have them come over and cook dinner and just joke around like old friends, and you won't believe how much that helps tackle depression, loneliness, all of that, just to have someone to talk to, joke around, and do something very simple with. It doesn't have to be that extravagant. So that's one of the things that I really noticed, especially coming back, is that we do feel isolated. I do feel more isolated here, even at home, compared to some other cultures around the world. And the next one to battle, if that's not quite working, I know this is something I'm definitely working on as I'm restructuring my life, and that is getting more inputs into my life. So travel was the land of inputs, constantly meeting new people, seeing new things, doing new things. But now that I'm back home and there's more routine, it's much harder to incorporate new inputs. And it's very, very easy to just fall into the same routine over and over and over and over again. And that can actually lead, I know it does for me, lead to some depression, anxiety, and loneliness. And to combat that, you don't have to travel far. Of course, travel is a great way to do that, to experience new things. But you can experience things right outside your door. Maybe go to a new grocery store. Maybe go to the ethnic grocery store down the street. Maybe even look up those new communities. Go to meetup.com, check out something that you haven't done before, maybe really wanted to do before, and that can do two things at once. Get you in the presence of more people, cut the isolation, but also then try something new, get something new infused into your life. And that can really, really help curb some of the depression, isolation, and loneliness that I've been seeing. So those are my two takeaways for today. I know that I'm both and actively trying to do both of these because they're not easy, especially when you're really into the routine, really trying to, I don't know, take care of the responsibilities that we all have in life. But if you are feeling a little bit of the depression, the loneliness, especially as the weather gets colder and colder for all these Midwestern folks that are tuning in, try to get your communities back together, double down on your people, your family and friends, and also try to infuse the new into your life. So that is it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed that as much as I did. And I have something for you. My next item I wanted to show you. You can see my Sri Lankan friends from last time that I wanted to show you. And this time, this little stein was something that my cousins gave to me right before I left. So it means a lot to me. It is a Bayerisch stein. So Bayern, or Bavaria, is the southeastern state of Germany where I spent most of my time. That's where my family is from. And of course, I'll show you guys again. So the flag is on there. If you guys didn't know, the flag is blue and white for the huge blue sky that covers Bayern for most of the year. Maybe not most of the year, but definitely the summer. And it is just a wonderful, wonderful gift that I'll keep with me. So thank you to my cousins Mox and Anmi for giving me that. And also, this is one of the few jackets that made it on the trip. So I had to show it off. I am trying to wear clothes that made it through the trip, just give the appearance and show you guys something that I was wearing in my small, tiny little backpack across the world. So thank you guys for tuning in. If you have any other questions, go ahead and write them in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts on depression, loneliness. I know I'm trying to talk to a lot of people and help tackle this because I don't know, it affects people's lives. And I don't think we need too many tweaks to really improve our lives drastically. I'm trying to get to the root of that. Have any questions? Put them in the comments. Love to hear your thoughts. And have a good Tuesday, guys. I'll try to get another one up soon. If you have any other topics you want me to talk about, go ahead and put them in the comments too. So have a good day, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.